Hi everyone, it is finally warm enough outside to do this. I'm doing a video that was requested specifically for the Tri-Rex breeder group to try to give an educational, all-encompassing video of how to pose. But this can apply to anyone that is showing compact or commercial breeds. I cannot give you any advice about upright commercial, compact, semi-arc, cylindrical. I don't know anything about those breeds except for the very basics. So, not going to be discussing that. For you that do not know who I am personally, my name's Amanda. I'm the breeder behind ADM's Rabbitry. I've been doing this for coming up on 8 years now, and I've been doing Tri-Rex since the beginning. But again, what I'm going to be showing you here is not specific at all to Tri or to Rex or even specifically to meat breeds. It can be commercial or compact. I'm going to show you first off on a New Zealand rabbit that doesn't have any glaring problems, just so you can see kind of what a pretty decent rabbit looks like set up. But before we even get into that, I want to talk about your setup. This is very important. It's the very basis of your posing and where people seem to mess up a lot. Don't do this on top of a cage. Don't do it on a tarp. Don't do it on a square carpet piece on top of a cage. Don't do it on unlevel surfaces. Don't do it way above you. Don't do it way below you. You need to have a nice firm platform, a level platform. It needs to be at a good height. I find that the tables that come with the Groom and Go that I have here, this box is called Groom and Go. The little table thing comes with is way too short for me. It's probably good for someone like probably like for a taller kid or an adult that's maybe like 5 feet to 5'5". Does it work for someone my height? I'm 5'8". Yeah, it works. It's just a little too low for me. So if I want to see on the profile, you know, I got to kind of get down like this. Well, I don't really want to have to do that. Now, the benefit of having it that way is I can see above a little easier. But I prefer to see the profile easier than above. Either which way, when I take pictures, when I do the above pictures, I do it from above, so I still get plenty of room to take the picture straight on. So for me, I just jimmy rigged this platform here. It's a dolly with a couple carriers on it. I like it right at my chest level. Again, like this is like I can take a little step back, see the profile, I can go to the side, see the back real easy, and I can see just enough of the top and feel it that I know what's going on. But again, when I take pictures, you know, I see it from each angle. A thing that I've seen people starting to use is keyboard stands, like piano keyboards. People have been using the stands, which you can adjust higher. I think that's probably a pretty good solution and probably something I'll buy here soon. But again, this is the very beginning of posing. This is the foundation. You don't want to mess it up. Think of it building a pyramid or a triangle. You want the foundation strong. If this is all wonky, your posing is going to be all wonky, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes I pose on a tarp to make it a real quick picture for my page, and trust me, it's never as good. So onward and upward, I guess. I'm going to go grab the New Zealand and we'll go from there. This is hand-painted Jewel. She's a 10-month-old broken black New Zealand. She is on a small litter right now, but she still has pretty good condition. She does peak a little early, which you'll see, but other than that, she doesn't have any glaring problems. She won Best of Variety at convention this past year. She's from David and Greg Mole, so if anyone's interested, I have several rabbits from them. They're quite nice. Anyways, probably the one thing that everyone does seem to know about posing, at least with commercial and compact breeds, your front feet. line up with your eyes. Your back feet line up with the stifle. Some people call it a hip. This is not a hip. This is their knee or the stifle. The hip is actually technically back here, the hip joint. No, it's the stifle. You can physically grab it. Anyways, feet there, feet there. The way you pose, this strongly depends on, I guess, your preference. I'm right-handed, and I prefer to be feeling and all that with my right hand and have control of the head with my left hand. Now, I know a lot of people that like to do it the other way, and they're right-handed as well. Again, just preference. I can pose the other way. It's extremely difficult for me, so yeah. So the next thing is the actual, what a lot of people call scrunching, and what it seems to be the thing people are afraid of the most, and people that love to do it way too much. There's a correct way and incorrect way. First, you need to understand why we're even doing this. And for me, I understand this as posture. So if you think about a human, so technically her feet are lined up correctly, but she's not posed right. She's underposed is what they would call it. And to me, if you think about this on a person, this would be like slouching. They're standing up and they're slouching. You can see how tall they are, but not truly. And then they're standing up straight, which would be kind of like the normal scrunching like this. And what we're doing when people, that it looks a little bit more severe, to me, that's like asking them to stand at attention, right? So, and I take my fingers back here and I run it down their loin, kind of push in, right? Their feet should not go above the stifle. These feet should not go above the eyes. So when I'm doing this, think about it as I'm asking her to stand at attention, like you were in the military or whatever. And she just stands up firmer. Just think of it as a person, like you're slouching, like most of us do. Then you're asked to stand up straight, okay. Then you're asked to stand at attention. You're firmer, you're taller, you're more impressive looking. And that's how I view posing up a rabbit in this way. And I feel like if you all can understand that, that could make it really connect in your brain. Because I know a lot of people know how to pose, but they struggle with the why we do it that way. And then a lot of people that don't know how to pose don't want to because they don't understand why you would. So other than them looking more impressive that way, the reason we want to do that is so we have a common, consistent ground that we're coming from with each rabbit. If we're posing a rabbit different every single time, we're not really going to get true consistency of judging. And you need that when you're judging rabbit upon rabbit upon rabbit. It's different if you only have 1, 2, 3 rabbits. You know, maybe you get the gist or whatever. But when you have several rabbits that are very competitive, they're very close in type, you really need to take the extra step to make them look their best. So as you can see, again, Painted Jewel here, she does peak early, but she has a nicer eyes. Smooth over. Once she does peak, she smooth over the hip nicely. She doesn't have as much of that right now because she does have a young litter, but she does have decent loin depth where she shines. She has really nice loin width. You can see, so this is her loin, and this is my hand. I don't have small hands. Like I said, I'm 5'8". My hands are almost as big as my husband, who's 6'2". So, I mean, that's a good loin. And her base is nice and wide too. Could it be better? Absolutely. You can kind of, where my hands are here, you can see where she's kind of empty right here. And that's not because she's too wide, and it's not even because her loin is narrow, but it's just not wide enough. It's something that I intend to improve on in my New Zealand's. The idea is never to make them smaller or shorter. If you have something exceptionally deep, you want to start working on making it wide. The goal is never to make it shallow, and the goal is never to make it more narrow. The only time you should be doing that is if your rabbits are going over max weight, in which case it means your rabbits are too big. So then you do need to shrink them down. Hopefully, this kind of covers how and why you should pose. Again, I feel like the why is way more important than most people realize. I will pull out a few Rex to show you. My Rex are obviously not as nice as this rabbit, but I'll give you a show anyways. Again, feet to the eyes, feet to the stifle. Use these fingers, run down the loin, kind of pinch them up. You don't want to over poses, which is when the feet move forward. You just want them to stand at attention. You'll see a lot of judges over pose, and I don't know why that is. People say they want them to pose like mini Rex. That doesn't make sense because compact breeds are posed the same exact way. So if the judges are trying to make it look like a mini Rex, then that means they're trying to make it look like a 3 to 4 pound rabbit. That doesn't make sense. I don't know why the judges overpose. I don't know if it's in a rush or they're just trying to make it look super, super deep by, I don't know, chopping off their end. I don't know, but that's not right. And we all know it's not right. The judges know it's not right, but they do it anyways. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your rabbits. Even if you see a judge do it, that doesn't make it correct. Don't go home and pose your rabbits like that, because you'll be disappointed when you do get a judge who poses right and it's like, oh yeah, this rabbit's really not as deep as I thought it was, or it's not as short as I thought it was. Or you might be happy because you realize, oh, my rabbit's not really undercut, it's just super overposed. So again, learn how to do it correctly. Don't follow the judge necessarily, because they're human too. They don't get paid a whole lot, so they're there to do a job, but that doesn't mean they'll always do it great. Now let me go get some Rex. There was something else that I did want to mention about posing. A lot of our people in our group do not show and do not intend to show, and that's fine. Maybe you're just breeding for me. Why you should still pose, again, is to evaluate. You want a consistent place to go from. But meat rabbits, a good meat rabbit would still fit the SOP for Rex, the standard of perfection. So you should still be trying to aim for that. So like for instance, the peak over the hip is still important because of the loin carriage, which is a bit separate from the peak. You can still have an early peak and have correct loin carriage, but they are hand and peak. But we want the peak over the hip, and we want the loin carriage over the hip. And the reasoning for that, I believe, is because rabbits are the strongest in their back legs. So we want their heaviest muscle over the back leg so they can carry their loin well, because if you have a lot of loin over the rib cage, the rabbit's not really designed to carry it like that. So it's going to limit the muscle they can grow because they can't support it, but also getting it over the hip is be more involved with the back legs, which again, I'm not a biologist. This is what makes sense to me. But if you put the muscle over the back leg, the muscle gets involved more, meaning the muscle can grow more. If you know anything about working out or anything like that, you have to break down muscle to build muscle. So here's a Rex doe that everyone loves because of her pattern, and she's done well on the show tables. I don't really like this doe much at all, and that's because of her type. She is structurally very deep. I'll give her that. And when I say structurally, I mean like their bones. Think about this as how tall someone is. So she is nice and tall. She doesn't have a whole lot of loin depth or width. And so when you want to think about loin depth, I mean, I guess you could think about it like as a bicep. You know, a bicep can be shallow, it can be deep, it can be wide. But obviously this is loin. The loin, it's a little harder to compare on a person because your loin is down here in your back. It's not something we as humans really activate unless you do things like deadlift or, you know, just a lot of lower body stuff, just not what a regular person probably uses. That's why I compare it to a bicep, maybe even a calf. Just think about those smaller muscles that you can build up, you can build wide. Well, she doesn't really have a lot of that. She has decent width for her size, but it's still kind of small. And some of that is from me still coming back from breeding mini Rexen, which I don't regret. But you know, it is a little bit of a road to go. So one thing you can tell from this rabbit, however, you know, standing at attention, she is very round, which I do not like. That is incredibly difficult to fix, I believe, amongst the other things to fix. you want a straight rise out of the shoulder, and she, I guess, technically does it for like a whole 2 inches, but then begins to round, and she carries the loin with it, and so that's why she, like, I guess, kind of peaks here. It's hard to tell since she is round, and then kind of slides off, and she starts to scoop under a little bit, which her mom did a lot too. So again, everyone loves this rabbit. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, but everyone loves this rabbit. I don't care for that much, but I'll show you one I do like a lot. Okay, this is kind of a two-in-one example. This is a rabbit I like a lot. I've been showing her as a Rex, and she's done mostly good. She is an Eco Rex though. If you don't know what that is, you'd have to go on my page to really find out what I've been doing with all that, but basically it's a Rex furred Florida White. So she's about 5.5 pounds. She's almost a senior. And again, I've been showing her as a Rex. Now, I don't have any Rex right now with like exceptionally good top lines to show you, unfortunately. This girl is pretty round, but she has a really nice loin. She has really nice fur. She has a really nice length of body. Granted, she is smaller, so that is to be expected. But yeah, I really like her loin. I don't know, overall I would say she's just better typed than that other rabbit. This is a lilac fawn. She's very pretty, has great rufous. Lilac looks great. Feet down, feet at the stifle, feet at the eye. Stand at attention. Get that back here a little more, get this tail out. And she is bred right now, so she's pregnant, so she's sitting a little funny. But guys, again, you can see she is a little round, and that's fine, but not as bad as the other one. This one's definitely less drastic. Again, has pretty nice structural depth. Her hips, like down here, but you can kind of feel her spine. It's up in here. But she has pretty nice loin depth. The loin could definitely be wider, but for her size, it's pretty nice. Getting a little hard to see because the sun is coming overhead, so I apologize for that. Hopefully you can see well enough though. I'll show you one more rabbit, just because she does have a very nice top line. It's California dog. Okay, last rabbit. Let's recap. Feet, eyes, front feet, eyes, back feet, stifle. Her sitting like this would be considered underpose. She's slouchy. So let's scrunch her up a little bit. Now she's standing up straight. Let's have her stand at attention. I can't get her tightly posed too much because she is quite pregnant. But there she is, standing at attention. She has a very nice straight rise. She still peaks a little bit early, but definitely a nice rise. I'm very excited to get that into my Sable program. She has good loin depth, very good loin carriage over the hip, like most of my A6 class rabbits. Turn it so you can see her butt. She's a little grouchy because, again, very pregnant. Fill out that tail. There you go. So again, that's how you pose a rabbit. Again, why? Even if you are just a meat breeder, this is the best way to pose a rabbit, consistently pose a rabbit, so you can compare easily to other rabbits. You want them to pose tightly, because again, it's like comparing slouching to standing straight and standing at attention. Maybe standing at attention is not necessary, but you should ask them to stand straight. Underposing them is not really doing your rabbit any favors. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, they're posing right because the feet are at the place where they're supposed to be. Again, a person can stand up, but that doesn't mean they're not slouching. So please try to pose your rabbits correctly. Do yourself and your rabbits a favor. And lastly, to go over again, is you want your rabbit posed like a show rabbit, because the SOP, or standard of perfection, for these meat breeds are to make the best meat rabbit that you possibly can. So there's no reason to not strive to try to reach a standard of perfection, even if you are not showing. And if you are showing, you should definitely be posing, be practicing. Don't go just off the judge's discretion, especially if you don't show that much. If you only show once every 6 months, you have no idea what's happening in your herd. So get your rabbits out and practice. It seems daunting at first. It did when I first started. It does for everyone. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Same thing with the rabbits. If you don't ever work with them and you pull them out for the first time at 14 weeks to take them to a show, they're not going to act right for the judge, and the judge is going to get sick of it, and the judge is just going to say, forget it. So again, do you and your rabbits a favor and pose the rabbits. If you have any questions, please comment below. I hope this video is not too long. I know I repeated myself a lot, but I was just trying to be thorough. I was going to also include in this video going over rabbits at certain ages and what you'd be looking for, but I felt like that video would just be way too long, and I don't like watching long videos, so I'm not going to make you all watch long videos. But yeah, that's it.